Is temptation evil? I'm Pastor Tim. This is Ask a Pastor Anything, a series we're doing at Christ House Church. And just an opportunity for you to ask a pastor your questions. So we'd love to hear some fresh questions from you so we can make some future videos. So hit us up in the comments, subscribe so you can see when those videos come out, and we'll take your questions. So one of the questions that's come up, we've had a ton of side discussions here and there. The relationship between sin and temptation, right? Is temptation sin? Should I feel guilty for having temptation? Now, I'm going to own right up front. A lot of Christians have a lot of different views on this, so I'll be straight with you where I come out and how I look at it. Oh, and I hope it helps. I think there's a difference between sin and temptation, and I think that temptation is not something that we're punished for. I would take that from James chapter 1. And he says, let no man say when he's tempted, I'm tempted of God. For God is not tempted with evil, neither does he tempt any man. But all are tempted when they're lured and enticed by their own desire. And desire, when it's conceived, brings forth sin. And sin, when it's finished, brings forth death. So don't err, don't be deceived, my beloved brothers. And that's kind of a mix of the KJV and the ESV and a little bit of NIV in there. So, go read the passage if you want, but they're all going to come out the same. So one, I see Scripture making a distinction between temptation and sin. In fact, there's other passages that will talk about, nothing unusual has come upon you with every trial. God provides a way of escape. So I think if you make temptation sin, then you lose the distinction between sin and temptation, and the James warning makes no sense. He didn't have to say all that. He could just said, no, you're tempted because you're messed up, man. You got evil desires, and that's why you're evil. But he says, no, the desire comes, and then there's something that has to happen. Desire, when it's conceived, brings forth sin. So the desire on its own wasn't sin. Something has to be done on my part. I receive it. He uses a birth analogy. It's conceived, and then it gives birth to death. So the key moment, right, is when it comes into me. It's conceived. It's united with me in a choice of my will. And at that point, a sin pregnancy has begun. So we have to make this distinction to even make sense of the passages. The other reason I think this is important is we talk about Jesus being tempted in the same way as us or tried in the same way as us, depending on your translation. And here's why it comes up, is the same word for trial, tried, and is the same word in the Greek for tempted. And we just go by context to pick which one we use. In English, those have strong differences of meaning, right? Tempt strongly implies an enticement towards evil. Trial is like a test. You could do good on a trial, right? Trial doesn't have the same negative baggage. I think this is something we bring to the text. This assumption that the tempting or the trial is always bad. When actually what we're saying is there's these moments when desire wells up and desire presents a choice. And it's a test, in a sense. I'm a trial, and you're going to see what I want to do. You're going to see who I am, because I look at this desire and I can say, let's do this. And I can do bad with my desire, but I could also do good with my desire. This is a powerful concept, and it's worth the distinction, because the goal isn't to have no desire. The goal is to do right things with your desire. Here's an illustration, and I'll wrap this up. Hunger is a desire. It's not good or bad. It just is. I'm human. I got hunger. It's part of being human. But hunger presents a choice, right? I can eat too much. I can steal food. I can be responsible with that desire and try to eat well and eat healthy. So I'm tempted. I'm tried by the desires within me. Some of them are more broken than others. If I can do healthy things, do evil things with them. So I don't want you to feel guilty for your desire. I want you to think about what you're doing with your desire. I want you to realize that desire is a normal part of humanity. Jesus was tried by the passions and desires he experienced. He experienced full humanity, yet without sin. He never made the choice to run it in a wrong way. He presents to us a picture of a human who can cry and weep and sweat drops of blood, can feel all the passions and desires of humanity, and pass the trial. So your desire doesn't damn you. What you do with it matters. And you need to learn to take your desires and say, Lord, what would you have me do with this? When you faced this trial, how did you walk in righteousness and glorify the Father? So no, I don't think temptation is evil. I think it's a trial that comes from our desires, and it can entice us to evil, but we have a choice to make every time we face our desires and passions.